Hey everyone, welcome to Still Moments with Jesus, and today I'm your host Brian Samuel Potty, and behind the camera today with us is
Maya Nicole Samuel Potty.
isn't she just such a delight? Yes, that's why we enjoy making this content for you, and that's exactly why we want you to actually have a wonderful time with us. As you know, Still Moments is very interested in just taking time with you and helping you take a small moment out of your day. Just to reflect on some things, right? That have to do with life, Jesus, the text, that's the scriptures, the Bible. And yeah, just any related spiritual matter, just so that you can refresh yourself and just find that joy and meaning and that reminder that you are seen, you are remembered, and you are loved by God, and you truly deserve to know all the best that He has in store for you. As you know, I've been doing a series this week on family and family-related issues, especially issues to do with conflict and other problematic issues that face families in this day and age, and not just now, but also as we look at the videos I've released in the text, starting with Genesis, going down to Jesus's time, and how Jesus sorted or thought about some forms of conflict. So welcome as we start off on this interview, and my wife, my beautiful and wonderful wife, will be leading us through the questions, and I'll be answering them. Pray for me.
Okay.
Go ahead, Maya.
First question. How does it feel being a newlywed?
Oh, it feels amazing. It feels scary. It feels absolutely thrilling. You know that people tend to use this analogy only during times of trouble, and when times of joy are always oscillating. But I'd say it's honestly a fun-filled roller coaster ride of like, wee, we don't know what's gonna happen, and wee, we know how things are going. Like, wee, sitting around the corner, and then you realize, oh yeah, I'm learning something new. And I think for me, just being a newlywed with my beautiful, wonderful wife is such a joy. You realize how much you can get from just being with someone else the moment you are open, vulnerable, and your complete self. And even for the parts of us that we still hide and we don't really reveal and talk and engage with each other about, the more open we are about our own issues and the more willing we are to engage each other, the more we realize that, hey, we really have cause and reason to just love and trust each other. And I feel like that's been the greatest gift of this relationship. And that's why I'm so happy to be married to the one and only Maya. Not just marriage in general, married to Maya.
Thank you. I guess for people who don't know, I'm a child of divorce. I still have great parents, but just their relationship didn't work out. With that being said, I think the question that I had, since primarily I've lived with my mom, is going into it, why do I even need a man or a husband in this modern day and age? What's the point, purpose of getting married, or just even having a significant to marry? Yeah, what's the why? Why do I need a guy?
Oh. Now, for any of you listening to Maya and listening to her questions, I hope you're writing down some notes somewhere, because they are precious. These questions, I have to be honest with you, all of you listening, these are questions that Maya's asked from the get. This is not something she's asking now. This is not something that she's just suddenly remembered. It's something she's asked from the beginning. And as I told her in the beginning, and this is something that some of you might appreciate, being single is the best thing ever. I know you didn't see that twist. Being single is the best thing to be. Period. And ever. Now, for those wondering why I gave an answer like that, I will pull back part of our story to just the beginning, the very beginning of our relationship, when Maya and I started talking, and Maya was like, hey, you and I could probably make for a great couple, right? I was like, yeah, we could make a great couple. P.S. Maya's reminding me this is revised history. But then again, if there are any husbands out there, any boyfriends, and they're like, you know what it is. You know how it goes. But yeah, honestly, I do believe strongly in the idea of singlehood, but not singlehood that is confined to the realm of not having someone. I don't know if that makes sense. I do believe in a singlehood that is committed and defined by one's personal devotional walk with Christ. So what does that mean? I mean, someone who's single not because they do not want to have or cannot have anyone, but just because they are single for the sole reason that they are pursuing God's will. And it's while being on that journey myself that I ended up meeting Maya. And that was how I knew she was the one. Otherwise, I feel like if I had just gone out and just tried to get different people to like me and whatever, which I had done before, I kind of tried to do that before, it doesn't yield the same result. And you end up finding yourself getting into this place of heartbreak and pain and loss and hope. Sometimes your soul just gets crushed, right? There's a hopelessness that comes with it. Now, if you so choose to actually want to have someone, I'd say, as I started, I prayed, I fasted, yes, one of those Christians, prayed, fasted, spent time reading God's word and just spending time just in denial of myself and just saying, God, give me not just a woman, give me someone who's for me, give me someone who's mine, give me someone with whom I can walk and learn and grow. Because I learn a lot more from God by being with my wife than I did just being alone. I know it may sound strange being like a biblical scholar and a theologian that, hey, I learn a whole lot more being with this person than I did just from reading all the Greek and the Hebrew and all those texts. But it is the truth. We were made from relationship and we were made for relationship. And I tend to think that's something that we often forget a lot, especially as we think about a significant other. And that's just something I know Maya's probably learned a lot about my type of love and what I have to offer.
Woo!
Woo! Go ahead, Maya. Bring the questions on.
Okay. My second question for you is being a guy.
Yes.
A man.
Amen.
An African, a Kenyan man. In this world, what does it even mean in this day and age to be a man? How would you define being a man? What is a...
Well, manhood and manliness has a lot to do with a person's context, right? Because you would have certain pointers, certain cues, specific cues that you go through in college that would signify your manhood, right? If you're stateside, depends on your fraternity and what they would do, right? Some of the activities you guys would have to engage in just to be able to qualify as a guy who's recognized within this crew, this group of brothers who really see each other as like friends and compatriots and like siblings. It's a type of siblinghood that's not tied to blood. If you come over to my neck of the woods, if you come over to Kenya, and specifically Western Kenya, you find that for me, it was a circumcision deal, right? So you get circumcised at a particular age with a crop of other guys, and that marks your peer group. Those are the peers with whom you're going to stand with. It's kind of like my little fraternity thing, but all this is taking place not in college, but when you're like 9. And that's the insane bit. You start learning that you're a guy at about 9. And this is just before you hit your 10s, right? Your 10, 11, 12, 13. All your teen years. This is before all of that. And you realize that, wow, all that I'm learning from going through these rituals that have been put forth before I was even in existence, even an idea or a concept, do help guide what I'm supposed to be in society. And I've seen that a whole lot more looking back on what manliness and manhood means in my context, specifically as a Kisa man from the subtribe of the Kisa community, a subtribe of the Luya community named the Kisa, from a particular clan, particular case, yes, particular crew, and that's something for me that I feel like offers a very different take on what I think manliness looks like. Now, does that mean that the Christian dimension of my faith, my own personal faith, adds something very different to this? Yes, it does. As a Christian man, not just an African man, but a Christian man, I do believe that there's a lot put on me that society is in need of, and that is a caring, diligent, respectful, responsible, outgoing, not in the sense of just going out and partying, but I mean outgoing in the sense of like going out and engaging people, interacting with them, doing things like still moments of Jesus, that blesses people and helps people see God through my masculinity, so that this does not become an obstacle to someone's faith, but it becomes an aid that helps them see, oh wow, there's still a God in this world who's doing things, and he can do things through someone like me. And that's something for me that I find very valuable. Yeah. Go ahead, Maya.
Okay. This one is going to be controversial.
Oh no. She's bringing the controversy, people. Stop her.
Thanks. I guess 2 parts. Do you consider yourself the head of the household?
Ooh.
Or / are there specific roles in marriage for men and women?
Ooh. Wow. Head of the household. Huh, wow. I know in my brokenness, I cannot be no head of anyone. Because I tend to think that by the time Adam got that as his thing was when things were still kind of like perfect, and Adam hadn't really strayed yet. Neither had Eve. But now in our broken fallenness, I don't see us truly reflect the character and quality traits that really make us capable of leading in the way we should. And even then, what kind of leading is it? Am I leading from the front or am I leading from the back? On one hand, Mandela said the best leaders lead from the back as they create room for the next. And on the other hand, I know the best leader, Jesus, leads from the front. The sheep hear his voice and they follow. They know him. And that's what I feel like I am. I'm still among the sheep. But whether I'm the sheep in the front or the sheep in the back makes no difference when it comes to Jesus's thing. So I've never really given it much precedent of being the head of the house in that regard. But I will say this, for the sake of because of cultural interests, for the sake of being someone who can be the face of the family and the face of the home outside, in the same way you still need the president, and not every American or not every Colombian, not every Kenyan, not every Ugandan, no matter what part of the world, not every Indian can be a president and dignitary of their country. You still need someone to represent and stand in your stead, right? In that way, I feel that's what leadership looks like. And that's where I now feel that my role as a man really gets tested. Not because I am representing someone or representing my family, but because I am in a place that makes me vulnerable in place of my family who would have otherwise been approached and had to deal with the brunt of what society has to deal. And yes, I still feel it like it's a way of protecting. I still feel like it's a way that you get to know God. And I learned this in no better way than by looking at what the text says and learning that at the end of the day, I need to reflect God to my wife, even as I share responsibilities and duties. Yes, there's some things guys do, and yes, there's some things girls do. But I feel like the best way to have a living and wonderful relationship is by looking past just what is expected and learning uniquely from you as a couple, what is it that you seek from the other person, as a guy, as a girl. For that is what is going to define what you will see as your roles and responsibilities and distinct functions within the relationship. Not for yourselves necessarily, but for the world. So that they can see a God who's in your Excuse me. Thank you. It's winter. So they can see a God who can see, so they can see a God who's truly present in your lives, working in a particular way to help heal, strengthen, restore, and use your own marriage as a ministry. Thank you. Yes.
I thought I had.
Go ahead, Mai.
Do you want more?
Go ahead, Mai. You can ask one more. You can ask one more. Ask a fun one. Ask any. I'm ready to go. Ready to go. Ready to go.
As a Christian man, how do you...
Fellas, I got you.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
As a Christian, I have two questions.
Okay.
One, I'm going to challenge you. What are the rules?
Oh. I said no hard questions.
You
I said no hard questions.
You said, damn it. You said
We'll
easy.
postpone that for another day.
Okay.
I need a light one. I need a light one for the viewers. I need a light one. Come on. You got a light question. You got a nice question.
Fine. Which anime character is closest to Jesus?
Wow, that's a very difficult one.
That was such a difficult question.
That's a very difficult one. Fellas, do you know the answer to that one? I do not. If any of y'all watch anime,
Fine.
which of you can say?
Fine. Let me try this. God. Which biblical figure reminds you of Escanor?
Now she's being too particular.
I know the answer.
Now she's being too particular.
Oh my god.
She's being too particular. I'll say this in closing though, to honor her question. All right. So I love Seven Deadly Sins, the anime. My wife knows this dearly, and that's why she's picking on me on this. But and for some circles who don't watch anime, I totally get it. So don't worry if this segment is not one of your fortes or something that you're interested in. It's okay. Don't worry, we got you. But for those interested in just listening, I'd say Escanor reminds me of two figures in particular. He reminds me of a Luo legend from Nyanza, which is in Western Kenya, and of Samson. One, because of the strength. Two, because of how the strength operates. And three, because of how the person existed in life. And interest in like the women. So that's the reason why I mentioned them. Yay. And fellas, yep, if you're jacked like that and you walk around like that in the middle of the day, best believe you want someone to be noticing you, right? For me, it was my mind. And yeah, I know she's embarrassed by me, but don't worry, that's what we do. It's one of our roles, guys.
Oh my god.
So, love you, blessings, and have an amazing Thanksgiving. And as we continue this series on family, please, we hope you're going to be blessed, and that you're going to continue to subscribe and share. Peace.